In this video, I'm going to walk you through the solutions for our practice topic test of equations. So you can use this video to correct your work, okay? Or you can use it to complete the test while you're watching this video. So for question 1, it says, write the inverse, so that's the opposite, of the following operations. So an operation is something we do to numbers, okay? So divided by 7, the opposite of divide is to multiply. So you need to remember this for our test, okay? The opposite to subtract is to add and vice versa, okay? So that's really, really important. Okay, the opposite of dividing by 7 is to multiply by 7. The opposite of subtract 21 is to add 21. The opposite of adding 8 is to subtract 8. The opposite of multiplying by 14 is to divide by 14. Now, if you got all of those answers, you would get 4 out of 4 marks for this question. Now, the next question says, when I subtract 4, what number am I thinking of when I subtract 4 and the answer is 17? Now, you might know this just already, but if you don't, here is how you work it out. So we don't know this number, so let's call it x. Okay, when I subtract 4, the answer is 17. So minus 4 equals 17. Now, in order to find out what x is, we need to get it by itself. So let's do the opposite operation. So the opposite of subtracting 4 is to add 4. Okay, this means on the left-hand side I can cross it out. X equals 17 plus 4, that's 21. Okay, so that's your number. For this second one, when I multiply it by 5, the answer is 80. So when we could do, we'll call x our unknown number, and I'm just going to do my writing down here. 5 times x. Now, with algebra, remember, 5 times x is better written as 5x. Okay, so 5x, the answer is 80, equals 80. Now, we want to get this x by itself to find out what it is, so we're going to divide both sides by 5, okay, because it's currently being multiplied by 5. That means on the left-hand side I can cross it out, my 5s. And then how many 5s go into 80? 16. So the answer is 16. So if you did all of this working out and you got those answers, I would give you 2 marks for this question. Question 3. Solve the following equations. Part A says y plus, I wonder if I can move that over there. Okay. Y plus 8 equals 11. So in order to solve these equations, we just need to get the pronumeral, so the letter by itself. So we're going to write out our equation in full. Y plus 8 equals 11. In order to get that y by itself, I need to subtract 8 from both sides, okay, because that is the opposite operation. Y equals, then I go 11, take away 8, that equals 3. So that's your final answer, okay? Part B. H take away 13 equals 78. Again, you need to get that pronumeral by itself, so you need to do the opposite operation, okay, to the numbers that are surrounding it. So let's get rid of this minus 13 by adding 13. We have to do it to both sides. Okay, on the left-hand side, I can cross out my 13s. H equals 91. Okay. Part C. Part C says 3r equals 18. Okay, so that r, what we want to get by itself, it's currently being multiplied by 3. So in order to reverse that, we're going to do the opposite, which is to divide by 3. So we've got to do that to both sides. R equals, how many 3's go into 18? 6. So 6 is your final answer. Part D. So the last question says t divided by 10 equals 90. Now we want to get that t by itself. Currently it's being divided by 10. What's the opposite of dividing by 10? is to multiply by 10. So we'll multiply 10 to both sides. On the left-hand side, I can cross out that 10. T equals 9 multiplied by 10, that's just 900, okay? Now, if you did all these steps for your working out, and you got these answers, I would give you 8 marks. So you get 1 mark for showing your working out and 1 mark for your correct answer. Now, these equations in question 3 were called one-step equations. That means, see my orange annotations, you just had to do one lot of these steps, okay? In the next step, there's going to be 2 steps, okay? So it's not necessarily harder, it just involves one more step. Okay, it says solve the following equation. So the idea is we look at our pronumeral and we want to get it by itself. So let's have a look at A. 4A plus 2 equals 30. Okay, so that A needs to be by itself. So the first thing is we're going to get rid of the outside layers. So I would say, for instance, this is like an inside layer, and then this is like an outside layer, a bit like an onion. Okay, we're going to peel back the outside layer first before we get to the inside layer. Okay, so we do that by subtracting 2 to both sides, because subtracting 2 is the opposite of adding 2. Cross this out on the left-hand side. 4A equals 28 take away 2. 30 take away 2, which gives you 28. Now, currently our A is being multiplied by 4, so the opposite of multiplying by 4 is to divide by 4. So let's divide by 4 to both sides. On the left, I can cross out my 4's. A equals 28 divided by 4, that's just 7. Okay, that's your final answer. Part B says 5t take 8 equals 7. Okay, so t is what we want to find out what it is. Okay, think of it. This is the inside layer. This is the outside layer. Okay, we're going to get rid of the outside layer first, then the inside layer. Okay. The opposite of subtracting 8 is to add 8. So let's add 8 to both sides. Cross it out. 5t equals, 7 plus 8? Just 15. Now we're just going to divide 5 by both sides because t is currently being multiplied by 5. We're going to divide. Okay, then we can cross out 5 on the left-hand side. T equals, how many 5s are in 15? It's 3. Okay, that's your final answer. Now, part C says 8 in brackets m take 11 equals 32. Now, with these types of questions, you need to use the distributive law to firstly expand the brackets. So that means 8 needs to be multiplied by m and 8 needs to be multiplied by 11. So let's do that first. That's our first step. 8 times m gives 8m. Take away 8 times 11, 88 equals 32. Now this second line of working looks exactly like these 2 questions here, okay? So we're going to remove the layers to get to m. So let's firstly add 88 to both sides. Cross out on the left-hand side. 8m equals 32 plus 88 is 120. Now 8 is currently m is being multiplied by 8, so let's divide both sides by 8. Okay, how many 8s are in 120? M just equals 15. Okay, and that's your final answer. Okay, our last question, part D. T plus 23 over 2 equals 18. Now this is a little bit different to what we've looked at, but I want you to think of it like this. Again, like an onion, this is our inside layer, and that's our outside layer, okay? Let's get rid of the outside layer before we get rid of the inside layer, okay? So in the outside layer, okay, our inside layer is being is being divided by 2, so let's multiply both sides by 2. We can get rid of that. That means on the left hand side I can cross out my 2. I'm left with t plus 23 equals 18 multiplied by 2 to give 36. Okay. Now we can just get rid of this 23 and then t will be by itself. So we'll minus 23 from both sides. On the left hand side I can cross it out. T equals 36, take away 23 is 13, and that's your final answer. So that's page 1 of your test.